Hey everyone, today I am going to tell you how to save money fast on a low income. Let's get started. Hey everyone, this is Lauren Mack with Hacking the Rat Race, and I would love for you to hit the like button and subscribe so you don't miss any more videos on money, saving, and investing. All right, so let's jump right in. I know that saving money on a low income can seem very daunting at times, and it can be super stressful. I have been there. I had a mountain of debt and a very low income. So I totally get it. So today, I just want to give you some tips and pointers that can help make it easier to save money and to save money faster on a low income. I was recently reading this article on Yahoo, which is what spurred me to create this video. And part of that article said, according to a new study from the First National Bank of Omaha, more than half, 53% of respondents said they do not have an emergency fund that covers at least 3 months of expenses. Meanwhile, 49% of Americans say they expect they'll be living paycheck to paycheck this year. This article was written in February, and this is before the huge financial fallout that is going on right now. So at that time, when the market was high, more than half of people did not have an emergency fund, and almost half were living paycheck to paycheck. And again, I've been there. I understand the stress of this. So I just wanted to give some quick and easy, simple tips to help save money fast on a low income. That way when emergencies come, or just starting to build up a savings to invest so you can start investing in your future. So the first tip is just going to be the most simple, which is evaluating your income and expenses. This is such a big deal, and it is so often overlooked because people just assume they know what they're spending, what's coming in, what's going out. If nothing else, I would recommend looking at it because oftentimes there are errors. I have literally found on multiple occasions $500 to $600 errors on my credit card that if I hadn't been looking at it and doing my budget every month, I would have missed. Even recently, 2 years ago, my husband had a computer and we bought virus software for it. And I guess when we purchased it, it automatically put us on reoccurring payments every 2 years. But he doesn't even have that laptop anymore. I'm running through my budget and I see a charge for $89. And I'm like, what in the world is this? I called them. We had to go back and forth, but they did end up refunding this money. But again, if I wasn't evaluating my income and my expenses, and I was just assuming that I knew what was coming in and going out, that would have been $89 out of my pocket right there that I wouldn't have even known. Even if you think you already know, it is definitely worth reviewing your income and expenses every month. The next tip is just going to lead kind of straight off this into creating a budget. If you have a low income and money is tight and you're living paycheck to paycheck, budgets can be so important, and they don't have to be this big, elaborate, annoying thing that you have to do. You can literally do it on a piece of paper. And if you're not sure how to do a budget, or maybe you're rusty, I have another video, I'll link to it above, how to create a super simple budget. I'll also link to it in the show notes below, as well as at the end of this video, putting a budget together so you have a budget plan. You know where your money's going, you can make goals, and literally if there's a shortfall, you can know what that is and how much more money you need to come up with. Again, so many people don't want to do a budget, A, because they think it takes too much time, B, because they think it's annoying, but C, I find oftentimes people don't want to do a budget. They don't want to see the reality of their financial situation. Budgeting seems so difficult when you're budgeting and you have all this extra month at the end of your money. I totally get it, but still, regardless, it is what it is. Even if it is that, if you have it on paper, you can literally come up with some concrete numbers so you know what is the shortfall, what am I working with, what could I cut out, what could I rework. So definitely looking at your income and expenses and creating a budget, even if it's a super simple budget, I highly recommend it. The next thing I would recommend is tackling your high interest rate debt first. Again, if this is your massive amount of debt, so let's just say you have 4 debts, and one is $50, one's $1,000, one's $2,000, and one's $10,000, and the $10,000 one has the largest interest rate, I would recommend going from the smallest to the highest. That way you keep the momentum up and you keep paying it off. However, if you have two debts that are, say, maybe $2,000 and $2,000, and one has a higher interest rate, pay that one off first because you're going to be saving more money on the interest rate. This tip is just paying off your debt as quick as possible, either from the smallest amount to the highest amount, or if there are two that are close, pay off the one with the highest interest rate first because that's going to give you the most savings. And again, as you pay them off, take that money and roll it into the next debt until they are all paid off. The next tip is going to be trying to cut down on some of your largest expenses. This could be like rent or your mortgage. And you might be thinking, what? I have to have a place to live. Like, how am I going to do that? One, you could get a roommate. Two, if you're maybe close to the end of the lease, if you can move back home with your parents for a temporary amount of time and save up, it may hurt your ego, or you may think, oh my gosh, I cannot live with my parents. But literally, don't take anything off the table, consider it. Or another thing is, you can rent your house out on Airbnb. And I know right now is probably not the best time for that, but sooner than later, things are gonna come back around, and renting it out on a temporary basis is a great idea. Number one, you get to meet new people, but I literally know people who make an extra $3,000 a month just renting out their spare bedroom on Airbnb. Obviously, this is going to depend on where you live and other circumstances, but I would definitely look into that, getting a permanent roommate, or other ways that you can just cut down on your rent or mortgage. The next one is going to be working on saving an emergency fund. If you don't already have one, this is so important because emergencies happen. They happen all the time, and oftentimes they keep racking up the debt because we don't have an emergency fund to handle it. Because of this, and because this is one of the hugest blocks to people getting out of debt and becoming financially free, I created a 30-day emergency fund savings challenge with a workbook, 100% free. Literally, you pay for nothing. It's 30 days of videos. Every day you watch a video and it goes over a tip for saving money. And this way you don't have to get more money out of your budget. So it's not your budget and then extra money for making your emergency fund. It is literally ways to cut down on your budget. Day by day, there's a new tip every day, and then you can take that money and fund your emergency fund, so it's using money that's already in your budget. I will link to the playlist above, I will put it in the show notes below, and I will also put a link at the end of this video. But if you don't have an emergency fund, I would highly recommend doing the emergency fund challenge. It's just saving a little bit of money each day, as well as giving amazing savings tips that can end up saving you hundreds, if not thousands of dollars every single month. The next tip is make sure you are getting all of your tax deductions and credits at the end of the year, especially the earned income tax credit if you qualify for it. I would talk to a tax expert, a CPA, somebody like that who can help you, but I would definitely make sure that you are taking advantage of all the tax credits and deductions that you can. This could end up saving you a large amount of money that you could put into your savings, you could pay off debt, you could put into your emergency fund. So I would just make sure that you are getting all the tax savings and credits possible. The next tip would be consider getting a side hustle or a part-time job. But here's the thing, I know you might be thinking, no thank you, I already work enough, I do not have time, and I don't feel like doing that. I totally get that, but here's the thing, I would highly recommend this at least for the short term. If you do your budget and you look at your expenses and you see what your shortfall is, or maybe how much money you need to pay off X amount of debt, you can set that goal and you can do your side hustle just until you hit that goal. And again, that can make you hustle harder because you want to pay off the debt faster. And I have another video, 30 unique side hustles when you desperately need it. I will link to it above and the show notes below. This is a great video if you're considering doing a side hustle, but you don't know what to do. Or maybe you have one or two ideas in mind. Some of them you can start making money today or tomorrow. Also, a lot of these you can do in your free time, which is great because if you implemented several of these and you have a goal, you could probably crank it out a whole lot faster than you think. So I would definitely get a goal, get a number together, and consider doing a side hustle to hit that goal. My next tip is to find a bank that does not have fees. This is so important because if you have overdraft fees or under the limit fees or I mean, I don't know, banks come up with all kinds of insane fees and they can really hurt you and basically take all of your money. So I would definitely recommend, if you don't already right now have a bank that does not have fees, consider looking around, shopping around, and finding one, because it is so worth it and it can save you so much money. There's absolutely no reason to have a bank account that charges so many fees, especially some of these super high fees. It's literally just taking your money that you've worked hard for. So if you don't already have one, definitely look into, as soon as possible, getting a bank that does not have fees. My next tip is avoid payday loans like the plague. I've talked to so many people over time who have used payday loans, and I get it because it's a quick way to get some cash, but they charge so much interest. I would say a lot of them are predatory, and just making a few adjustments and some of the savings tips I give you in the 30-day challenge can literally make the difference of not having to get a payday loan. And yes, you can get that money fast, but they basically steal so much of your paycheck. So whatever you do, please try to avoid payday loans like the plague. Even if that means getting a credit card with 0% interest, again, whatever it is, I don't recommend getting more debt. I definitely recommend getting your emergency fund saved up, getting your savings built up, using these other tips, but payday loans basically just steal your payday. So definitely, if you can, avoid them as much as possible and look at other ways of savings so you have money and you're not having to get those payday loans. And my last tip is evaluating your car costs. Cars can be so expensive. There's so much. There's maintenance, there's insurance. If someone has bad credit, the interest rate can be so high. So literally evaluating your car, seeing if maybe you can downgrade, get some discounts on your insurance, maybe drive a little bit less so you're cutting down on fuel and maintenance. Whatever it takes, definitely evaluate your car costs, because after your rent or mortgage, this is normally another huge drain on the budget. And maybe even consider looking at taking public transportation, carpooling, whatever you can do to lower your transportation costs can have a huge impact on your budget. So now I want to hear from you in the comments below. Which tip are you going to implement first? And do you have any tips that I haven't mentioned that could maybe help people save money faster? Please leave them in the comments below. I cannot wait to hear from you. Thank you so much for watching this video. Please don't forget to hit the like button. It literally costs nothing and it does so much for this channel, and it pushes this video out to people who also need to save money fast. And don't forget to subscribe so you don't miss any more videos on money, saving, and investing. Thank you so much, and I can't wait to see you in the next video.